So good afternoon. So we are the group 15 and our topic is groundwater exploration and exploitation in the Philippines. So first we need to discuss what is the groundwater and the importance of groundwater and the difference between the aquifer and groundwater. So first, what is groundwater? So groundwater is the water found underground in the rocks and spaces in soil, sand, and rocks. It is stored in any move slowly through geologic formation of soil, sand, and rocks called aquifers. So an aquifer is a geological formation consisting of permeable material capable to store or yield significant quantities of water. Aquifers can consist of different materials such as unconsolidated sand and gravel, permeable sedimentary rocks such as sandstone or limestone, fractured volcanic and crystalline rocks. So ang aquifers daw is kanang mga nagdikit-dikit na mga bato to capable daw siya to store or yield significant quantities of water para daw mag-hold siya og tubig. Mo siya ginatawag na groundwater. So ang ano daw, the importance of groundwater kay sa tuang life is to help na to provide drinking water and also to help the irrigation para mag-maintain og moisture sa irrigation area. And also ang groundwater helps us na help the plants to grow fast. Ano siya ang help sa groundwater. So, dahil na picture makita nimo ang duwa ka zone or naadhay duwa ka zone ang groundwater. So first is the unsaturated zone, mo ni siya ang naadaya, and the saturated zone. So ang saturated zone daw is kaning below the land surface and the saturated zone is below the water table. So ang unsaturated zone daw contains water and air in the open space or pores. No, ano siya kaning sa ilalong sa land surface. Tapos ang saturated zone daw is a zone which all the pores and rocks fractures are filled with water, underlines with the unsaturated zone, and the top of the saturated zone mo ni siya ang water table. So ang water table daw is the boundary between the soil surface and the area where the groundwater saturate between sediments and cracks in rock. So mo ni siya ang water table, ang boundary between sa saturated zone and sa saturated zone. Tapos, ang groundwater daw fills as spaces between soil particles and fractured rock beneath the earth's surface. Mando na siya ang groundwater diri. Ang groundwater, water table ning linya, mo na siya ang boundary sa saturated zone and saturated zone. Water as a resource, the Philippines obtain its water supply from different sources. This includes rainfall, surface water resource, for example, rivers, lakes, and reservoir, and groundwater resources. It has 18 major river basin and 421 principal river basin as defined by National Water Regulatory Board or the NWRB. So this is the kanang mo ni siya ang mga major basin. So 12 lang siya kabuok for sa example. So the Northeast Luzon, Central Luzon, Laguna Lake Basin, Cavite, Batangas, Laguna Basin, Southeast Luzon, Mindoro Island, Negros Island, Northeast Leyte, Ormoc Canaga Basin, Agusan Davao Basin, Occidental Misamis Basin, and Lanao Bukidnon Misamis Basin. So this is the mo na siya ang mga rivers or lakes, mga example sa 18 major na basin. Next, Tamayo will discuss the groundwater exploitation and the exploration of the Philippines.
Good day, everyone. I'm Veronica Tamayo. At this time, I will discuss the groundwater exploration and exploitation in the Philippines. So the objective of groundwater exploration is the investigation of underground formations to understand the hydrologic cycle, or to study and understand the hydrological cycle of the region, to have an overall concept about the type, nature, and number of aquifers, the quality of groundwater. So usually the groundwater exploration projects pass through the phase of regional survey, detailed surveys, and exploration of groundwater by means of boreholes and wells. So groundwater exploration is a typical task of a hydrogeologist or an engineer. So exploration of groundwater requires a basic understanding of its position in the subsurface geological setup. Groundwater exploration is attempted through either by direct or indirect methods. So test drilling is the direct approach to find out the resource. So they are classified into surface and subsurface methods. So first we have surface method. When we say surface method, are easy to operate and implement. And the surface methods of groundwater exploration include the following: esoteric methods, geomorphologic methods, geological and structural methods, soil and microbiological methods, remote sensing techniques, and surface geophysical methods. First, we have esoteric methods are the ancient methods or oldest water divining methods. They are also called as water dosing. People believe that the flow of groundwater can induce some vital currents above the surface. So, with twigs of trees, husks removed coconuts, watches, and other materials have been used as dosing materials. And those materials is not applicable to everybody attempting to divine water. Kasi nga, mayroong role of induction yung mga taong gumagamit ito. There is no scientific explanation available with reference to those approaches. So, next we have geomorphological methods. It is surface drainage is the subdued replica of topography. So topography, it is natural arrangement and artificial physical features of an area. So mostly groundwater flow coincides with the surface drainages. So next we have geological methods. A geologic investigation begins with the collection, analysis, and hydrogeologic interpretation of pertinent records such as topographic maps, aerial photographs, geologic maps, and logs. So this should be supplemented when possible by geologic field reconnaissance and by evaluation of available hydrologic data on stream flow and springs, well yields, groundwater recharge, discharge, and levels, and water quality. So next we have soil and microbiological methods. So geobotanical indicators are valuable tools in groundwater exploration. So the anomalous growth of vegetation and alignment of big trees, a straight line growth of termite mounds, and location of age-old, deep-rooted heritage trees can indicate the occurrence of groundwater at shallow depths. Next, we have remote sensing techniques. Remote sensing is the science and to some extent art of acquiring information about the Earth's surface without actually being in contact with it. This is done by sensing and recording reflected or emitted energy and processing, analyzing, and applying that information. In much of remote sensing, the process involves an interaction between incident radiation and the targets of interest. Remote sensing shows an increasing role in the field of hydrology and water resources development. So we have geophysical methods. So exploring the groundwater by geophysical method is termed groundwater geophysics. So geophysical investigations are conducted on the surface of the earth to explore the groundwater resources by observing some physical parameters like density, velocity, conductivity, resistivity, magnetic, electromagnetic, and radioactive phenomena. So let's move on to the subsurface methods. So when we say subsurface methods, the subsurface methods of groundwater exploration includes both test drilling and borehole geophysical logging techniques. These are done for government-level projects where large-scale investigations are carried out to ascertain the results of surveys. The subsurface methods are very accurate methods as the help in direct observations of features in the form of borehole catalogs. So it concluded that groundwater exploration is a very unique exercise as it is of hidden resource. Various indirect methods are attempted to identify the points. So let's move on to the groundwater exploitation. So when we say groundwater exploitation, this refers to the drilling and pumping of groundwater by people in order to use this groundwater for various purposes. Water exploitation is referred to the extraction of water for irrigation and human consumption. Water exploitation is greatly connected with agriculture. So nevertheless, a large contribution to water exploitation is connected with the industrial and residential sectors and seasonally with tourism. So water exploitation can be estimated by the exploitation index that is defined as withdrawal of conventional freshwater resources. So the proper exploitation of groundwater resources involves, apart from the location of suitable source, the construction of properly designated wells. So the design and the execution of water supply systems and their maintenance is an integral part of the scheme of exploration and management. The numerous problems of groundwater exploration and exploitation require systematic use of scientific techniques. So, according to my research, we all know that groundwater is replenished or recharged by rain and rivers. So it contributes 14% of the total water resource potential of the Philippines. Region 10 or Northern Mindanao has the lowest potential source of groundwater compared to its surface water potential, while Region 1 or Ilocos region and 7 is Central Visayas have the highest potential. So, groundwater is used for drinking by about 50% of the people in the country. So based on the water rights granted by the National Water Resources Board or NWRB since 2002, 49% of groundwater is consumed by the domestic sector, and the remaining shared by agriculture is 32%. So 15% for industry and 4% for other sectors. So about 60% of the groundwater extraction is without water right permits, so resulting in indiscriminate withdrawal. So a high percentage or 86% of pipe water supply systems uses groundwater as a source. So according to Ramon Alicala, or Executive Director of NWRB, there is already salt water intrusion in the western part of Metro Manila because of over-extraction and the lack of recharging of the aquifer. So that's be all. Thank you.